Once bees have collected enough nectar, they return to the hive and deposit them in wax cells. These wax cells are built in symmetrical geometric shapes called hexagons. Bees have the innate intelligence to build their honeycombs in hexagonal tiles. This allows the maximum number of cells of the same size to be created. At the same time, the circumference of the cells is minimized. In other words, it is an effective way to use the least amount of material. The geometric efficiency of the hexagon can be found everywhere in nature. Here we see the cross-section through the stem of a flax plant. As you can clearly see, the plant fibers are also hexagonal in structure. This is not by chance. Nothing in nature around us has come about by chance, but follows an intelligent design. Only because of this efficiency and the resulting stability can trees grow to these heights. So far so good. The hexagonal structure of structures and fibers seems to be quite normal in living matter. But what can be seen here? Hexagonal columns of stone, so-called basalt. Seen here in the Giant's Causeway in Northern Ireland. But how were these hexagonal columns of stone created? Mainstream science tells us that what we see here is solidified, cooled lava. Through incomprehensible processes, these streams of glowing lava should have flowed out of the Earth's interior to solidify exactly like this. One of the best known of these anomalies is probably Devil's Tower in the American state of Wyoming. If you look closely, you can clearly see the hexagonal columns. Very similar to the fibers of a plant shown before. Some of these fibers seem to dissolve over time and break away from the overall mass. It is also noticeable that the outer skin of these strands seems to be flaking off, as if a thin layer of embroidery is lying over it. If you take another closer look at the fibers of a plant, you will discover a thin connective tissue skin similar to that of muscle fibers. If you take a closer look at the transition of the hexagonal columns coming out of the ground, you can see that they do not grow straight out of the ground, but rather taper upwards like the roots of a tree. What is a clear indication for the fact that the theory of magma columns risen from the ground is actually impossible. But what does that mean? Didn't we realize the obvious, and believe the official explanation without question? And contrary to all the obvious facts, we simply believe we have a mountain in front of us. It seems that what we have learned under the term Table Mountain are in reality the remains of gigantic tree giants. And if these gigantic trees were felled with machines unimaginable to us, what happened to these ones? What if our whole idea about the geological structures of our world is based on completely false, made-up narratives? And once again the narrow path leads us to lonely, windy heights in search of truth. And if we now look at the stone witnesses of this world from a different angle, we have to ask ourselves what the so-called canyons and volcanoes are all about. Let's look at the rock structures of many of the canyons we know, whose formation we were taught was the result of millions of years of wind and weather and erosion. It seems that the complete course of time and the time periods mentioned to us do not fit together. Let's look at this building, for example. It is the Umberto Gallery in Naples. If you search on a worldwide known auction platform on the internet for old postcards of this gallery, you come across, for example, a copy from 1915. Interesting are the Roman numerals above the archway. They show the date of construction. They show the year 1890. This date is also mentioned in the official sources as the date of construction. Now let's look at another old postcard of the Umberto Gallery. This time it is from 1905. Strangely enough, there are slightly different numbers on the archway. They show the year 890. It seems that between the year 1905 and the year 1915 the Roman numeral M, synonymous with 1000, was added. The question arises why at the beginning of the 19th century the date of construction of the gallery was dated to 1000 years later. More and more voices, including the Russian historian Professor Fomenko, claim that the historical timeline told to us cannot be correct. It seems that whole ages and civilizations either completely invented or greatly changed, not too long ago. We have to completely reassemble the puzzle pieces of our history. Finally, we take a look at old film footage, on which is obviously to be seen the construction of Stonehenge. According to official history, it was built over 4,000 years ago in the Stone Age,